House to Home, brought to you by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
All right, everybody, we are going to give you a lesson in first-time home buying with me playing the role of a first-time home buyer. Not that much of a stretch from the real thing. So fortunately, Liz and Gina are here to set me straight now. Okay, now I am playing the role of myself. So.
We've actually been trying to sell you a home, Jason.
You have. No,
we have, and why
that is
rent?
not fiction.
No, and why rent when you could own your own property?
That's true, and you have educated me for going on 5 years now about the value of equity and owning your own home. So I have made the decision. I want to actually own my own home. I've seen your pictures all over the place. I realize there are a certain number of costs and there's a certain amount of time that I have to invest in this to make not just a decision, but the right decision. So where do I go from here? I put money aside for closing costs or whatever like that. I'm going to start shopping around. So where do I go? Because I'm completely confused.
Okay, so the first question I'd ask you is, well, did you go to the bank and did you get pre-qualified? Because when you go to the bank, you have to provide 2 of your last pay stubs, your employment verification, and your last 2 years tax return. So those are documents that the bank will need, and they have a requirement also in terms of how quick they respond to you in terms of giving your pre-qualification information.
The tax return thing I did not know about.
Oh, you do need your tax return.
Because if you apply for like a personal loan, a vacation loan, a car loan, it's just basically your last 2 pay stubs.
Well, it's a form for them to verify your income. And for the last 2 years, they want to determine whether you had stable income and the consistency of that. Plus, of course, they'll take that and they will do a credit check. They want to see how have you paid your bills over the past few years? Have you had any delinquent payments? Are you up to date? So those are things that they would ask as well.
And I must say, how long back do they? Because my credit score is very, very good, by the grace of God right now. But I may or I may not have bounced a couple checks when I was in college, when I was young and stupid.
Okay, but that's not so many years ago.
Yeah, what's in the past is in the past.
Yes, yes. I mean, if you had foreclosure or bankruptcy, of course they say that lasts for a window of 7 years. But the problem with that is if you haven't paid the loan off or dealt with it with the loan institution, it still follows you. It shows that there were some bills that you did not handle. So of course they'll ask you questions. Now, if you were off island and you didn't pay a credit card, some of the banks will ask you questions like, well, we show one delinquency. What was the reason for that? So if you have good reasons for it, they might give you an allowance and say, okay, well, not a problem. We can move forward.
Okay, so Gina, my dear, so if I was going to the bank and I already say I got pre-qualified for $400,000, I've been employed here at KUM for 17 years now. I've got good stable income. I've got money in the bank. Where do I go from here? Now I've got options.
So now it looks like you've already pre-qualified. You have a budget in mind. If you called me, I'd ask, the next thing I'd ask you is, now first, good job, because that's a lot of work to go through all that, right, to get that done. So the next thing I'd ask you is, okay, if you've already been to the bank, then you must have some idea of what they're going to charge you to give you the loan. Because there is no such thing as a free lunch, right?
Oh, man.
And there is no such thing as 100% financing. There is for the purchase of the house, and I think some people get it mixed up. There are loan programs that will give you 100% to cover the price of the home or condo, well, actually of the home that you're getting, but not the closing cost. So the closing cost is what you're paying to the lender or to the loan program so that you could actually borrow that mortgage.
And that's out of pocket, typically.
That's right.
And again, this is completely not like a car loan or the student loan I got when I went to grad school or anything like that.
Yeah, and remember those crazy things we did when we were in high school or college? Well, those things do show up. And what Liz was trying to explain is, yes, they're supposed to look back 7 years, but they look back forever as far as I'm concerned. And if you can't demonstrate that it was out of your control that caused that event, you're going to have a lot of letter writing and a lot of cleaning up to do before you could move towards that mortgage. So that's why it's critical, as Liz explained, that you go to the bank first. Call us so we could take you around, and that's what we're going to do, right? We're going to take you around. We know what your budget is, but now I want to know, okay, Jace, when you talk to the bank, did they show you how much your closing cost is going to be? And you say you've put money aside to cover that, but do you know exactly what that amount is?
Okay, now I've got a question, because if I should get all pre-qualified. I found the house of my dreams. I know where I want to stay. I've got the money. I put the closing cost out of pocket. I put that down. But what should I be thinking about in terms of the number of decades for the mortgage? Because I'm 42 right now. And if this is my first time owning a home, obviously 30 years, I'd be 72 years old.
Well, they could, it's up to you in terms of, it makes a difference in terms of your monthly payment. And they do offer 15-year loan periods, 20 years, 30 years. There's even a 40-year loan period. So it's totally up to you. And then they'll show you the chart of what that means in terms of your monthly payments. Your interest rate, it may make a difference with your interest rate as well. So it's your choice. You can choose which in terms of how much you want to pay per month.
I must say, you guys have made the whole process, which I know can be very, very daunting and very emotionally taxing, you've made it that much less stressful for me just sitting here talking about it.
Well, you know,
because I'm the kind of person that freaks out. I'm very high anxiety.
You know, I always stress to people, this is when you want to go slow. This is the part that you want to slow down. So you understand what you're doing, what you're getting into, and you learn the process a little bit better. And then once we start looking at homes, that's when I say, hey, hurry up. Because then you gotta, when you find something you love, move on it quick.
Move on it because it'll
because
be
you're not the
snapped
only
up.
person falling in love.
So let's go slow and let's be smart about securing the money and making sure we get it. Then as soon as we find
It's like dating.
it up.
Go slow.
Well, if you think I'm bad at buying a home, let's not have a discussion about dating, because that's a completely
We're not
different.
going to get into that.
Yeah,
won't
that's
get
a
into that.
completely different level of failure right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, I would rather go bankrupt than have my heart broken again, but that's a completely different discussion. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Thank you.
All right, and we will take another stroll down Amnesia Lane when we return, hopefully, maybe